Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Q&A session where we interview professionals in the mining industry to get an idea of what careers and opportunities are out there. My name is Mario Munoz, and I'm the Recruitment Outreach Coordinator for the Lowell Institute for Mineral Resources. Our guest today is David Travis, who is the Vice President of Mine Planning for Freeport McMorRan Corporate Office in Phoenix, Arizona. He joins us today with a wide range of experience working positions, including mine engineer, chief engineer, mine manager, general manager of operations, and now 11 years as vice president of mine planning. I'm also happy to say and share that he is an alumni of my engineering program at the University of Arizona. David, welcome, and thank you for being here.
That's my pleasure, Mario. It's glad to be here.
So let's jump right into it. And can you tell us a little bit about what your work is and kind of what a vice president of mining engineering does?
My current role is really focused on the strategy of how the company should run, in the mine, how we should run the mines, what kind of plans do we need to make. We spend a lot of time on optimization. We have, the software, how we use the software. We have a career development program, so we bring, new engineers into the company, and we have a rotation and we expose them to many different situations, different sites, both technical and in the operations. We really try to round out our, not only our engineers, our mine engineers, but our geologists and all the other engineers that come into our company. And so we have, we work primarily on the strategic things like the future. We try to figure out, how big to make things, when to do things, and then specifically in my group, but then we also have a link to each of the sites that also work on those things to some degree, and we work together and come up with, recommendations that we can present to management about, how we should run the mine.
Yeah, for sure. So, that's interesting that you mentioned some of that experience that you gained and the hard work that you had. One of our students actually asked to see if you could give what advice would you give to a new engineer that has VP goals or aspirations, maybe like certain position experience or higher ed that you would recommend, or just simply like skills or traits. What advice would you give them?
Be very, very comfortable in almost every situation, right? It's not, I don't know, as engineers, when you're in college, it's more competitive. You think I'm going to go down this track or I'm going to go down that track, and really you want to be good at everything.
Right.
You don't want to limit yourself, because the other thing I was telling a gentleman the other day about this, where when we extend people outside their comfort zone, they're very, they have anxiety about it for the most part, but when they get through it and they look back, they go, I had no idea I was capable. And it really feels good. Right then, that you're capable of a lot more than you thought you were.
So right now, obviously, we're living in like very unprecedented time with everything that's happening with the virus, and it's shifted a lot of the industry and everyone really. But where do you see the mining industry heading in the next couple of years?
This whole idea of the Internet of Things, that's where it's at. We generate an incredible amount of data right now that we don't really, we're in the process, and we've got a lot of, Freeport, we have a lot of our data, in these systems now, and we're starting to really leverage all that stuff. We've got quite a few projects that have been successful and some future. Right now, we, in my job today, I was involved in a lot of those data, standardization. First, you got to get standardized, and then you have to have the same sensors or the same software, and then you have to just start making everything the same, and then you can roll it right up. But and I've been involved in a lot of those projects over the years, but now the mine planning software needs to come to the show. And so we're working on that with some of our vendors right now, that when the guy's out in the field, he can reach down into the mine plan on his tablet and see everything he needs to see. And that's a reality right now. We've actually done that. So now it's bringing more of the mine planning, what's more of the data from the mine plan, bring it across, right? And making it more seamless and more transparent.
For sure. Last few questions coming in from some students. What major technology will have the single largest impact to the future of the metal mining?
It's probably, I mean, right now the next thing coming is again it's how we organize our data and how transparent it is. So that's really gonna revolutionize to some degree the productivity and the cost aspect of mining, for sure. And not the next biggest thing on the list probably is not necessarily a technology thing. It's really a community engagement aspect of how we do our business. This is, that's going to continue to evolve. And so, how a company manages that with the communities that it's doing business in is going to be critical. And I think even other companies now are realizing that, like we've seen recently where Amazon wanted to build a facility in New York City, and basically the people in that community revolted and then they didn't do it. And they probably hasn't spent any time on community development. So it happens to everybody now, right? But mining, we've been doing it for a long time. And so how well you manage that will allow you to grow faster, be more efficient, be more productive, be more profitable than your competitors going forward, right? So it's really not a technology thing, but it's like a super critical aspect of how we work and how we do our business now.
In your own words, what does a mining engineer do?
What does a mining engineer do? A little bit of everything. A mine engineer it's a little bit different than other engineers in that you have to have some pretty good knowledge of all the other engineering disciplines to be successful. You don't have to be an expert, but you do have to have knowledge. You also have to be, you have to understand economics. It drives the value of mining. And so you're pretty well-rounded. You understand how the business works. You understand every engineering discipline to some degree. And then you're like the clearinghouse when the company wants to do something and has a vision, after the geologists find an ore body, the mine engineers run the show.
And last question here. If a student is interested in or is currently exploring career options and looking into what they want to go into, why should they choose the mining industry as a career?
First of all, it's a small group of people worldwide. It's tight knit. We have great relationships with not only inside of our company, but outside of our company. The mining business people usually have a tendency to work together. So we help each other. We share a lot of information. You can travel the world. You can take your family. There's a lot of, if you like the outdoors, that's a big draw. You can rise to whatever level you desire. In a mining company, you're not going to do the same thing every day in and day out. You're going to have all these opportunities to go to test what you're capable of doing.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for joining us. I don't want to take any more of your time. We really appreciate that you could sit down and talk, and we could pick your brain a bit and understand kind of what your experiences are like.